Hey, what's going on? This is the Convo for Oak Ridge Ford in London, Ontario, oakridgeford.com. Your boy NJ flying solo tonight, the off day of the Leafs Panthers series. The Leafs finally getting a win to stave off elimination last night, a 2-1 win for the good guys. So today, I'm reading a lot of, you know, post uh, stuff related to the series. And, there are a lot of people who are resigned to the fact that, this is probably not going to turn out favorable for the Maple Leafs. Yet there are others who are, viewing this task as something that has to be dealt with one period, one occasion, one goal at a time. And after last night's performance, which, you know what, was pretty darn steady, right? Despite the fact that the Leafs aren't scoring a ton of goals, they did put a ton of shots on Sergei Bobrovsky, especially the core four, right? Just letting loose. So certainly nice to see, and being able to pull out that win with a great effort in net from Joseph Wall tells you that there's life left in the team. And, you know, today talking to people at work and, OGs and converts, none of us are fully satisfied. Nor will we be, even if they get through this series and then go potentially kerplunk or fall face first in the conference final. For us, the end result, the end game has to be a championship. And the difficulty in what's going on right now, not being able to, enjoy the little wins, enjoy the substantive kind of achievements that they have made. This group, first time getting through the first round against Tampa a week and a bit ago. It's because we want more, and it's not as if we're being greedy or being excessive or wanting to accelerate the joy that we're all hoping we can share in. The team has been together, uh, being built the way it is officially constructed now for quite some time. Austin Matthews, what, a 2016 draft pick, first game he scores 4 goals against the Ottawa Senators. We knew it was coming for him, but William Nylander packed in a year before. Mitch Marner comes on in 17. John Tavares picked up via free agency in 18. Morgan Riley had been around. And here we are in 2023, down 3-1 against a Florida team that the Leafs handled pretty well during the regular season. And the only real achievement that this group has made collectively as a team is reach the second round once in, geez, what, 6, 7 years as a group. So taking a step back today and taking a breather and, you know, being excited for another game that at this point, every game going forward, at least in this series, is a bonus. You have to put it in perspective, man. It's not like the Leafs haven't tried. And I mean, in terms of the regular season, they have been dynamos for season after season. Lots of personal accolades, guys, soaring to new heights individually. It's just this collective effort in the Stanley Cup playoffs that leaves so much to be desired. So on one hand, there's disappointment that the Leafs find themselves in this predicament because they just weren't ready for a freight train out of control. On the other hand, they won game 4, and we can see more hockey tomorrow night. You got to think that the Leafs are going to put together a decent little home ice effort, since of the 5 wins they have been able to put together in this playoff, only one has come on home ice. That was game 2, right? The kind of the punchback game against Tampa. So what are they gonna do? Like, lose every game but one on home ice in the Stanley Cup run? And the other thing is, Florida, for as good as they had looked over that 6-game run, taking out Boston, coming from behind, uh, eking it out versus the best team in the regular season, the best team ever. Um, the momentum just carried through to the Leafs series, and the Leafs they played okay, but they weren't prepared for it the way that they really should have been, especially when you consider that it's not only the fans who wanted to take on the Panthers, given the opportunity to choose from Boston or Florida. The organization wanted the Panthers too. So again, this is why we're disappointed in general, to be in this predicament when you have that much talent and you've augmented the group in such an extensive way to build and be ready and pack it on and go crazy in the playoffs. So yeah, just looking back on last night and the nights before, it's understandable to be disappointed. However, there is more hockey to play, and the idea of coming back three down to win a series is it's is it far-fetched? Because it's been done before. And um, if the ingredients are right, it can be done again. Um, and that's the thing with the Maple Leafs right now. Oh, they tantalize us. They've accomplished so much, but yet it's not enough. And they'd be the first to tell you that. And it's just juggling this love for this team and this frustration. I know I'm not the only one. OG's converts. I know you feel the same way. Just a few people in the chat tonight. It's just me. I'm going to go over a poll. I'm going to read some comments. I'm going to give you my 2 cents on how I'm feeling as a fan and as a content creator on an off day, potentially the final off day for the Maple Leafs leading into a game of the 2023 Stanley Cup playoffs. Then again, uh, maybe the Leafs win, push it to Game 6 in Sunrise, and then it's Florida with a kind of a new dynamic, right? Running high for so long, taking down Boston, blitzkrieging the Maple Leafs, and now you know what happens. It's a game of momentum. It's a game of inches. It's a game of circumstance, puck luck, and who knows? All of that had coagulated into some real nice short-term success for Florida. It could be over. It really could be. Let's go to a few comments here, and I wish there was a way that we could talk to each other, and maybe we'll get to a platform where you guys can get on the blower and we can have a conversation as opposed to just having text for me to read. Jose Duarte, I give it to Florida, and it did turn up in their play. So yeah, I guess we're waiting to see what kind of team Florida is in Game 5. I've got to think they're going to continue to play hard, play up the middle, in your face. Sergei Bobrovsky, look, at his age, everything is gravy right about now. I mean, he's got those personal trophies taken care of. This is an opportunity for him to kind of lead a group that wouldn't say is a Cinderella group, but not necessarily the favorite, to the promised land. So I can't think that he is not going to play well. However, again, momentum is a thing, and you ride it for so long, and one little thing can change the direction of that momentum. It can be favorable for a while and then unfavorable for another period of time. And once the wheels start coming off, they are certainly hard to put back on. Let's go. Greg Knight, building from the net out and cap space, they will have, man. Whatever happens now is gravy, 100%. Again, we have to look at it like that because the Leafs are certainly up against it. The odds of coming back from three down to win a series, as we know, it had been done four times and out of 203 series, and the odds are just like stacked against them. So Game 5, gravy. Game 6, gravy. Game 7, well, anything can happen. And then the Leafs put themselves right back into a position where they probably should have been in a much easier process. But again, let's just sort of take it game by game. 09 max, okay? We can't rely on Sammy. Always something with him. Injuries, not as bad as Murray, but close. Wall is our future, and sign a bet for backup next season. So the thing about Joseph Wall is that he is not a guy who ha- has just arrived on the scene and is doing something that we're all surprised by. We know how good he's been in the minor leagues, and how the ascent and the rise to where he is now was thwarted because of injuries. I mean, that's a difficult thing for somebody like Joseph Wall or any player who's got a ton of talent and is sidetracked for such a lengthy period of time in those formative seasons, right? And I mean, he could have packed it in, or he could have come back and been a shadow of himself, or a shadow of what the organization was hoping he would be. Instead, the guy gets healthy, looks fantastic with the Marlies, um, picked away at opportunities with the Maple Leafs, never looked out of place, looked like he had command and a lot of confidence. And here he is in the playoffs, right? In a like a pressure cooker environment where every little play counts, every little save he can make, every little bit of movement, every moment of showing command and intelligence and prowess can benefit your team. And while the core four and a lot of the other guys might be gripping it a little too tight because the expectations are insane, and rightfully so, what are the expectations on Joseph Wall? Right? Are we thinking that he's got to become a a Conn Smythe goaltender like right now? He better do it. It's kind of like, look, Samsonov's he's injured. He did a nice job helping the Leafs get through the Tampa series, and let's face it, in Game 6, man, that guy was a stud, and he had serious command. Unfortunately, he gets injured. Um, and what are you going to do with Matt Murray? Like, it's a bust. It's a bust. And what are you going to fault Kyle Dubas for this? I mean, we can, but they tried. He's a bust. Throw Joseph Wall into the mix, and guess what? He has looked terrific. What has he got to lose? It's not like he's going to be demoted next year or that he's going to be cut. As Mike Augello has said on this platform on several occasions, Joseph Wall is the goalie for the future for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Doesn't mean he's the next Johnny Bauer or Curtis Joseph. But he's a guy who will be relied on because of his skill, because of what he's meant to the organization, how they've stuck with him, how he's stuck it out, how he's grinded through injuries and come back and it's not looked out of place. So I'm glad. I'm glad because again, it's his what this means to him is a lot different than the guys ahead of him. And imagine having a goaltender gripping it too tight because he is playing really shitty and he shouldn't be playing shitty. That's a difficult situation. If your goaltender just goes in and says, "Bring it on," this, as Greg Knight used the term, gravy. This is all gravy. You know what I'm saying? We'll do Greg again. Wall is a great Leaf hope. The future looks so bright. I need sunglasses. On a day like today, you certainly need sunglasses. I mean, it's 26, shooting basketball, cleaning the garage, doing some stuff around the house today. It was my day off. So certainly nice, but you got to be careful. If you're not putting on sunscreen, you're going to get burned pretty hardcore because the sun, especially where I live in London, man, it'll cook you really, really fast. I want to show you guys something. This is, I don't know if you can see it. We can and we will. Do any of you OGs or converts remember where that's from? Where that came from? Who said it? Come on. I'll tell you what. Whoever can tell me who came up with this quote, "We can and we will," I will send you a Leafs Convo hoodie. I've got a couple kicking around. I'll wait. Okay. If you can, I will send you a Leafs Convo hoodie, and then I'll explain to you the significance of "we can and we will." No, 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 no. Oh, wait a minute. Do good. Kyle Dubas, yes, 100%. Back in 2018, talking to the media, he says we can and we will, and that, that can mean a variety of things, but it was meant to install some uh, confidence in the movement, instill confidence in his players with the notion of, look, we're going to get this done. Uh, on paper. We're going to get this done corporately. We're going to get this done organizationally, and then we will, we'll package everything up, and then, with that winner being on the ice and that winner running rampant through the organization in terms of the ideology, and that confidence and that swagger, we will ultimately win the big prize. Didn't say that in specific terms, but we got it. So here we are, all these years later. No President's Trophy, but who gives a shit about serious President's Trophy? Forget about it. A ton of 100-point seasons, clinching divisions, Rocket Richard Trophy winning players, guys who are up for all kinds of individual awards. The Hart finally, and then going 7 games in pretty much every playoff series you partake in, that is doesn't include rounds 2, 3, and 4. So yeah, uh, he Kyle Dubas, we can and we will. 2018, 2023, they couldn't and they haven't. If he meant winning the whole damn thing, then again, hey, the jury is still out. It seems as if we're going to have a conviction here, but somebody's holding their ground, and thinks that they just can't join the unanimous voices and convict these Maple Leafs and get rid of them. There's still, there's still a bit of undetermination that is prevalent as we kind of delegate and decide how the fate will ultimately play out for the Maple Leafs. We got Michael Jack. Oh no, sorry about that. Michael Jack. Leafs win easily tomorrow. If Leafs win tomorrow, that'd be great. This easily or hard. I mean, I don't know how they're going to win easily. Like what's been easy for the Maple Leafs in these playoffs? Like what's been easy, right? I mean, see, the thing is, through the Tampa series, through the Panther series, the Leafs haven't been brutal. Sure, game 1, they were awful, and I mean, we we did a post-game show, and the sky was falling, and then they rebounded, and then it was kind of like a chess match where it was going into overtime, and it was next goal wins, or just a deflection or a tip in front of the net. And it's not like the Leafs were amazing, but they weren't terrible. And this series against the Panthers, for as much as we're pissed off that they haven't just sideswiped these dudes from Florida, and have lost the first 3, and then finally came around in game 4. The Leafs haven't been awful. Like, sure, there were times where they have been shut down, and they're playing a little bit too much on the periphery, and it appeared that they really, really weren't into it. But man, this is hard, and that Florida, coming off that success against the Bruins, just skating like the wind, hair on fire, and the Leafs giving it their best. Unfortunately, through the most part of this series, the Panthers have had an answer for whatever the Leafs was presenting to them. So it's not like they've been terrible, but nothing's been easy. I mean, it's hard to watch, but nothing's been easy. So, Michael Jack, I hope you're right. And if that's the case, I'm hoping that the easy win flips this series on its head, right? The Leafs take it back and show us the team that we've all hoped they could become, but haven't quite been able to this point. So, Michael Jack, thanks so much for being here. Who else we have? Hab Slayer. This series should be 2-2. Sure. I mean, it could be 3-1 Leafs, right? 2-2. Sure. Why not? Again, the Leafs haven't been spanked. They haven't been spanked. There's no 5-0, 6-0. Goalies getting pulled, guys getting benched. It's just the Leafs. I wouldn't say exasperated from the Tampa series because it's not like they were spent. Just didn't come out of the gate hard enough. Just didn't come out of the gate hard enough. It's not like they were terrible. Just didn't come out of the gate hard enough. And double that or couple that with a team flying out of the gate who had built so much momentum and so much self-assurance and pride and confidence by taking down the mighty Boston Bruins, not 1, 2, 3 games in a row, winning in overtime. Coming into Toronto, let's do this. And the Leafs were flat-footed, but they weren't terrible. So, and that's the thing, right? Sometimes it's good to offset a really shitty game with an extraordinary game because it's just the wave of emotions. We feel terrible, now we feel amazing. This kind of like this mid-level analysis of what's taking place, where the team hasn't been awful, certainly haven't been great, could have had opportunities to win, had them, didn't, bury their chances. The opposition somehow finds a way, just skates a little harder, makes the extra play, and gets the job done. I think that kind of ticks people off too, because they still leave a lot to be desired. And when you leave a lot to be desired and there's an expectation and a belief that you can fulfill those desires, it makes it even worse, right? So here we are, game 5 coming up. As Greg Knight says, and I've used the term gravy often. Look, it's true. Everything right now is gravy until it's not. Until the Leafs have an opportunity to eliminate the Panthers. So gravy, gravy, and then we get back to business. So who was it who got the answer? Kyle Dubas, dog something. If you can message me back, and what we'll do is I'll get your contact information, the Leafs Convo @gmail.com. Email me. Tell me where you live, your name, your postal address, and everything, and I'll shoot you a Leafs Convo hoodie. Like I said, I've got a few kicking around. I think I might do hats next season. I don't know, trucker hats? I don't think so. But my wife's like, yeah, do hats, not hoodies. I think everybody's got a hoodie at this point. Let's go. Bejeweled. The Panthers feel threatened last night. That's the reason for the scrum. If the Leafs win tomorrow, Florida might start to crack. I mean, that's the hope. That's the hope. Again, how long does your run last? If Florida beats Boston in the first round after being down in the series, okay, and then takes down the Leafs in 5, and then goes into the conference final and beats up their opposition 4 or 5, 6 games, goes into the championship Stanley Cup final series and takes it. It's a run of epic proportions. But even runs, they don't typically last that long. And it's possible Florida has kind of spent its goodwill and spent all of its ammo. It's possible, considering who they are. The 8th seed, not not the Boston Bruins, not world beaters, but the 8th seed that won a President's Trophy last year, but that was last year. So maybe they put everything on the table and got what they needed out of it, a series win against Boston, and used a lot of that momentum to put the Leafs in the predicament they're in. And you're right, it's possible. Bejeweled, it's possible. The Florida's starting to feel it a little bit, right? The reality is setting in that 6 straight wins is great, but it's not enough to win you a cup, especially if you do it in between rounds 1 and 2. So we shall see. I just don't see Florida going into a full reverse mode, where on one hand, they're flying high, and then they just all of a sudden become a team that contrasts the one that achieved all of that success. The way they play, how they play, the size that they play with, the grit that they play with, it's how they come at you, up the middle kind of hockey. That's not going to change. I think what's going to have to happen now, or the Maple Leafs are going to have to find their stride, get a lead, and continue to score. Don't sit on that lead. Get a lead early, get the crowd into it. Maybe there's going to be some shitty stuff going on. Maybe there's some physicality that will not only will take place but should take place. So what? The Leafs went into the gutter with Tampa and came out just fine. They can do it. Okay, this is not a track meet. It's not ice capades. It's not, battle of the skill, battle of the skill. Whoever's got the most skill is going to win. No, it's battle of wills. And if the Leafs had demonstrated a little bit more will to put away a team it really wanted to face in the second round, they wouldn't be in the predicament they're in right now. But that's just my 2 cents. I'm not going to keep you guys for too much longer. Super Strike 9 games have been pretty close. Damn Skippy, they have been super close. I really do appreciate you guys being with me. My buddy Bitch Marner, Florida is due for a big letdown. Understand? You know what? They could be. They could be, but we just don't know what kind of run they're ultimately going to put together. And a lot of that can be determined by the Maple Leafs, right? Donald J. Trump 69. Norm, who won? Who won what? The election? Donald J. You had a pretty good showing on CNN last night, bud. That was a lot of fun. Hab Slayer. Leafs played a boring defense game and won. Well, yeah, they did, and that's fine, right? Especially when your goaltender's playing well, and the most offensive guys did their part to try to fill the net, right? Instead of being overly structured and overly methodical, they just let it fly at Bobrovsky, right? Just put the damn puck on net, and we know that. We saw that in the series against Tampa. If you put the puck on net, and good things can happen, especially if you're getting a goaltender who's going from riding high and stopping everything that comes his way to all of a sudden having one get redirected 4 times and past him, because he knows he can't stop that, and that just pisses him off. So yeah, look, defense is going to win you cups 100%. The thing with the Maple Leafs, though, is they're built to score, and scoring is hard in the playoffs. So score when you get the chance, score when you have the man advantage, but you got to have a foundational defensive process to everything you do. So what happened in Game 4? The Leafs staved off elimination, looked pretty darn good doing it, but still room to improve. And there's room for Florida to regress after being on such an incredible run. I wanted to show you guys something here real quick, if I can pull this up. One sec. All right. So the Leafs Convo on the YouTube channel. So you go to youtube.com/the Leafs Convo, and then in community, I put up polls, and I do really appreciate that so many of you are voicing how you feel through these polls. So the question today: how far will the Leafs take this series? And you can see how things are broken down. Almost half of all of you who participated in this poll think it's going 7. So, I mean, it shows a little bit of the schizophrenia that we collectively exude as Leafs fans, right? Because a lot of you after Game 3 were like, this is over. Dubas is fired. Keefe, forget him. Ship Nylander off to Magnitogorsk. Marner, we don't want him anymore. Matthews is signing in Arizona. One win can change a lot of opinions. But that's the playoffs, right? One goal can change things. One missed penalty shot can change things. Going over on the power play can change things, right? A stupid penalty can change things. It can change your confidence. It can change the dynamic of a game, your processes within that game. And as fans who live, eat, sleep, and breathe the Maple Leafs, when they're doing well, we feel good about it. When they're doing poorly, we don't feel good about it. And when we know that the end is nigh, well, before the Leafs are 6 feet under, we are penning obituaries. And usually when somebody kicks the dirt, there are a lot of nice things said about them. In the case of the Maple Leafs, just as we were lowering the casket into the ground, and this is kind of a creepy metaphor, an analogy, so I apologize, but just as we're lowering the casket into the ground and spitting on the damn thing, oh, the Leafs pull an Undertaker. Pop out. They're not done yet. Guys, I probably should get out of here. I just wanted to say thank you so much for being a part of the project. So like the content, subscribe to the channel, and stick with us. So as the guy who kind of runs the show, the plan will be post game tomorrow night with Mike and myself. That's the plan. It could be yours truly flying solo. We'll find out. And then if the Leafs continue on, we'll do an off day show. If they finally kick the bucket, I'm sure tomorrow's show is going to be quite entertaining and eventful. And then we'll do a couple of podcasts that revolve around locker clean out and kind of setting the course for the summer ahead. I hope we don't get there. I was truly thinking that this team could make it to the conference final, especially after winning round one, and we wouldn't have to be talking about the next season or whether Nylander's going to be dealt or somehow find a way to keep him, or Shelton Keefe's going to lose his job until June. So, or at least late May. It's happening a little quicker than I had hoped. And as somebody who puts this show together, I do like I like the interaction. I like the views. I like people coming in, because at the end of the day, it's not because I want you to look at me or talk highly of me or shit on me or whatever. I'm just trying to grow this damn Leafs Convo thing and keep it going. Season 5 hanging in the balance. Are we concluding, or we're going to keep going on? So that's pretty much going to do it for me. Again, if you want to reach out to me, the Leafs Convo at gmail.com. My friend who got the Kyle Dubas question right, please email me and I'll get your address and I will send you a Leafs Convo hoodie. Keep the faith, guys. It's not over. The Leafs have played okay, pretty well, decent, kind of poor throughout this playoff run. When are they just going to burst and go crazy? Maybe it's in game 5 at home, where they haven't had much success in the playoffs, where they're due. Game 5, big win, put Florida on its heels, back into Sunrise, where the confidence level is going to begin to wane on one end and grow on the other. And like most of you guys believe, it goes game 7, and then in the 7th game, all bets are off. Okay, guys, enjoy your night. I am out. We'll talk to you tomorrow. NJ is done.